All right, so I just woke up and I wanted to record this before I forget. I've been working on self-hypnosis for the past couple of weeks. Now, when I say working on, I don't mean setting aside time every day and hypnotizing myself. What I mean is some mornings when I wake up early enough that there's no distractions, I will lie in bed and relax. So I wake up and I relax and I breathe and I relax and I breathe and I relax my body, especially. And one morning, a voice started coming in that said, I don't know, the more that you breathe, the more that you relax. The more you breathe, the more you relax. Something like that. And then the more you relax, the more it feels good, or the more whatever. The words are not specific or particular. It's really just what words come up in the moment. For me personally, I've never been able to be hypnotized. And even self-hypnosis would never work unless it's coming up naturally. Then and there's a basis of mindfulness to it, so you can focus on that and allow the sort of natural voice to speak. Then it seems to work. So there are a couple of mornings over the last couple of weeks I've done that. And then this morning there's a new element to that, which I would say is like releasing the layers of the ego, or releasing emotional protective layers. And I say layers because I was relaxing and then distinctly relax a certain, whatever the current configuration is. Okay, so usually when I'm in bed and I'm ready to start my day, okay, I'm like this. I'm like, it's this person. I'm ready to go. And there's a particular attention to that. So I'm like, okay, relax that one. So that one relaxes. And then another layer will come up, and it's very distinct. It's, for me anyway, it's not some fluid kind of, oh, now this is happening. No, there are layers where you drop into, and then there's a tension. There's like a boundary or there's a layer. So we start and it's, okay, relax the first layer. All right, now excitement. Okay, now there's another layer, relax that one. Sadness. Okay, now there's another one. Fear, there's another one. Anger, there's another one. Arousal, there's another one. Pleasure, there's another one. Anger, there's another one. And 10 or 15 different layers. And one of them, the body is shaking. The next one, the body is screaming. The next one, the body is crying. The next one, the body is moaning. The next one, the body is laughing. The next one, the body is talking. Okay, so, and for me, these are happening like once every second or every 2 seconds. So I'm not like hanging out in this layer for half an hour or exploring it. I'm just kind of just relaxing to try and see what different states there are. And I don't know why the layers terminology comes up. That's just how it feels, because it feels like there's the surface layer of protection, and there's the next and the next and the next. Maybe that's actually not the greatest way to think about it. There could just be different states. But the key for that, though, for me, is that if that process, because I've done things like that, trying to release things many times over the years, and whenever it feels like an activity or something you're trying to do or a process, like if you're listening to me on this video and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, let me try that, you might have success with that. But if you're like me, you probably won't. If you're like me, no success from any directions from any people at all, because I don't know if I'm a bad student or if I'm just not open to learning or trying new things. But it just, if it's not coming from my own intuition or my own direct experience, it's like I can't trust what it is. So now I've got these kind of two different little self-hypnosis tools, one of which is just this loop of relaxation, breathing, relaxation, and pleasure. Breathing, relaxation, and pleasure. And that is something where you can kind of get into like actually beginning to unravel tension in the body. You can begin to start to get into, if you have trauma and repressed sexuality, those things can start to come up and be explored. Or just even without sexuality, just sensuality, pleasure, eroticism, and those kinds of feelings can start to come. And then the other bit with the layers of the ego protective mechanisms, I don't really know how much validity or usefulness there will be to that, but it does seem like it might be helpful in cycling through a lot of different stuck layers very quickly. The key there, for me anyway, is this is not aimed at, and it's why I'm nervous about saying the layers aspect, because if you do the layers aspect and you're releasing and releasing and releasing, there may also be this counter force like at the center that is the more you release, the more it's like resisting against that. If you use a layers model, there's layers and layers and layers of ego, and then there's nothing in the middle. But just before that, there's extremely strong core identity layers. I don't think it's useful to try and force your way through those, at least for me at this stage. I did that a long time ago. There is like a historic precedent for that, right? Like, I did not do this. This happened to me spontaneously, but people will go to monasteries and train and train and push through that initial boundary to get that initial glimpse of awakening, um, which is necessary, which is extremely important, but also like once you've had that, it doesn't really make sense to keep doing that, which I think that's not to put like a gender term on it, but it's like the masculine and the feminine approach where the masculine approach can work really well at the beginning to break things open. But from there, you don't want to keep pushing it. You just need to let things unfold afterwards. All right. Well, more on this to come. We'll see.